हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाये नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्य देहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरम् भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti। Hari Om. We shall chant the Bhrigu Valli from the beginning. Om Bhrigurvai Varunihi Varunam Pitaramupasasara Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmeti Tasma Etat Provacha अन्नं प्राणं चक्षुश्रोत्रं मनोवाचमिति तगम्भोवाच यतो वा इमानि भूतानि जायन्ते येन जातानि जीवन्ति यत्प्रयन्त्यभिसंविशन्ति तद्विजिज्ञासस्व तद्ब्रह्मेति स तपोतप्यत स तपस्तप्त्वा अन्नं ब्रह्मेति व्यजानात् अन्नाद्येव खल्विमानि भूतानि जायन्ते अन्नेन जातानि जीवन्ति अन्नं प्रयन्त्यभिसंविशन्तीति तद्विज्ञाय पुनरेव वरुणं पितरमुपससार अधीहि भगवो ब्रह्मेति तगम्होवाच तपसा ब्रह्म विजिज्ञासस्व तपो ब्रह्मेति स तपोतप्यत स तपस्तप्त्वा प्राणो ब्रह्मेति व्यजानात् प्राणाद्येव खल्विमानि भूतानि जायन्ते प्राणेन जातानि जीवन्ति प्राणं प्रयन्त्यभिसंविशन्तीति तद्विज्ञाय पुनरेव वरुणं पितरमुपससार अधीहि भगवो ब्रह्मेति तगम्होवाच तपसा ब्रह्म विजिज्ञासस्व तपो ब्रह्मेति स तपोतप्यत स तपस्तप्त्वा मनो ब्रह्मेति व्यजानात् मनसो ह्येव खल्विमानि भूतानि जायन्ते मनसा जातानि जीवन्ति मनः प्रयन्त्यभिसंविशन्तीति तद्विज्ञाय पुनरेव वरुणं पितरमुपससार अधीहि भगवो ब्रह्मेति तगम्होवाच तपसा ब्रह्म विजिज्ञासस्व तपो ब्रह्मेति स तपोतप्यत स तपस्तप्त्वा विज्ञानं ब्रह्मेति व्यजानात् विज्ञानाद्येव खल्विमानि भूतानि जायन्ते विज्ञानेन जातानि जीवन्ति विज्ञानं प्रयन्त्यभिसंविशन्तीति तद्विज्ञाय पुनरेव वरुणं पितरमुपससार अधीहि भगवो ब्रह्मेति तगम्होवाच तपसा ब्रह्म विजिज्ञासस्व तपो ब्रह्मेति स तपोतप्यत स तपस्तप्त्वा So Bhrigu approached his father Varuna and requested him to teach him Brahma Vidya. So his father gave him the Lakshana of Brahma. That Brahma is that from whom or from which all these beings are born, in whom all beings are sustained, and in whom all beings merge back. That is Brahma. So you inquire and recognize that Brahma and realize that Brahma. So Bhrigu does tapas. Tapas means focused attention. Focusing not only the senses, but also the antakarana towards Brahma. So when he did tapas, first he recognized Anna as Brahma. Anna is the body which is made up of food, not only our body, but the bodies of all beings are made up of food. So he recognized food as Brahma, Anna as Brahma. Because everything is born in Anna, is sustained in Anna, and merges back into Anna. But Anna did not present all the characteristics completely, properly of Brahma. So he approached his father, his teacher again, who again told him that you do tapas and understand that Brahman. So again in his tapas he realized prana as Brahma. Then he approached his father who told him that you do more tapas. Then he realized mana as Brahma. Then with more tapas he realized Vijnanam as Brahma. So these are the different layers, not only of an individual personality, but at a cosmic level, these are the different layers of this cosmos. The outermost layer is made up of matter. But within this layer of matter is a layer of energy, layer of power, layer of prana, which not only expresses in the living beings, but it expresses everywhere. All the activities which we see in this cosmos is propelled by prana. But subtler than the pranas is the layer of the mind, layer of the senses. And there we understand the expression of life: seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, thinking, feeling. And as we observe higher and higher beings, we find these faculties getting expressed in more vividly. In plants, we see life, but in other creatures, we also see the expression of the senses. And in higher creatures, we see the expressions of mind, thinking, feeling. In a human body, all these faculties express in their highest mode. So when we do tapas, we will be able to transcend these levels. We will be able to see these levels within us. We identify with our body and consider that itself as our own self. So these 5 layers are also indicated as 5 koshas. And when we identify with these 5 koshas, then they are called Atma. Annamay Atma, Pranamay Atma, Manomay Atma. But they are koshas, layers, seats. So within the Pranamay kosha is the layer of our mind, layer of our senses, where in the mind, we think, thinking constantly happens, a reaction to the world happens. In the senses, the stimuli of the world is perceived. We perceive the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha through our senses, and the mind responds to this stimuli in the form of thinking and feeling. So that is the subtler layer which is present in the living beings, in the higher living beings. But even subtler than the layer of the mind is the layer of vijnanam, the layer of knowledge, the layer of understanding, the layer of intelligence, which is subtler than even mind. See, through our mind we think. Sometimes we try to solve a problem through thinking. And with constant thinking, using all the proper strategies of thinking, we arrive at an understanding. The understanding is beyond thinking, but we express our understanding through thinking. But it is something subtler than thinking. Therefore, it is considered subtler than the mind. Even animals, they understand, but their understanding is not conveyed through some words or some language. They may have their own language. When you call an animal towards you, the animal understands and approaches you. But if you try to frighten the animal understands that also, tries to run away from you. Not only animals, but even tiny little insects also understand. A mosquito also understands. A fly also understands. A honeybee also understands. And it conveys its understanding to the other bees. So you see the expression of intelligence in this world in a very amazing way. So within our this personality also, at the level of our body, at the level of our pranas, at the level of our mind, the intelligence is functioning. The intelligence is guiding our body. See, when we eat our food or do some exercise or take some medicines, the body responds to its own inner intelligence. It knows how to respond. Therefore, about this intelligence, about this Vijnanamaya Kosh, in the previous Valli, Ananda Valli, the description is given very beautifully. That tasya shraddheva shiraha. Shraddha is the head of this intelligence. Shraddha, faith. And Ritam Dakshina Pakshaha and Satyam Uttara Pakshaha. And Ritam, the truth which is understood through the Shastras is Ritam. And the truth which is expressed through our senses, our mind, is Satyam. And Yoga Atma, Yoga, the state of meditation, when the mind is absolutely calm, peaceful, relaxed, that is that very Atma of that intelligence. See, our conscious thinking, our conscious understanding sometimes, not sometimes, many times, interferes with this intelligence. But when we have that proper faith, then that intelligence starts expressing in a very wonderful way. See, we see this phenomenon in the great bhaktas, in the great jnanis, like Tulsidas ji. He has written this Tulsi Ramayana, Sri Ramacharita. It's a masterpiece. In Sri Ramacharita, he not only talks about Bhagwan's charitra, but also conveys the very essence of dharma and the essence of Brahma. And so many topics are covered most beautifully. It's like a masterpiece. So somebody asked for Tulsidas ji that you have written this so amazing. He says, I have not written. Bhagwan himself has written. Shiv Bhagwan has written. I just became a nimitta. Shiv Bhagwan wrote it through me. Because there was no conscious effort when one identifies, when one is filled with that Shraddha, then that intelligence flows through that person. Even the great mathematician, Sri Ramanujan, somebody asked him that how you could come up with these fantastic mathematical expressions which even great mathematicians were struggling to solve. He says, I don't know, Devi comes and expresses through me. Because that intelligence, it functions at a very subtle level. Therefore, here, the yoga is the very atma of this intelligence. And maha ucham pratishtha and mahat tattva, which expresses as cosmic intelligence in Hiranyagarbha, is the very foundation of this intelligence. Means when we just surrender with faith, make our mind absolutely still, calm, peaceful, that intelligence starts flowing through us. We will be able to identify with this intelligence. Even Kalidas, the great poet, was not so bright and brilliant in the beginning. Then he did Kali Upasana. And through that Kali Upasana, intelligence started flowing through him. He could compose such fantastic, he writes some fantastic works. So we will be able to understand and identify with this intelligence. We have to identify with this intelligence through tapas. Through tapas. When we identify with our own limited body, mind, intellect, we feel I am thinking, I am understanding. But when we surrender even our buddhi, our mana, then we will be able to identify and understand this cosmic intelligence, which is also a very, very subtle layer of this cosmos, a very important and subtle layer of this cosmos. So Bhrigu understood this. through tapas. And he approached his father and he said, yes, I have understood Vijnanam as Brahma. But still he felt that there must be more, something more subtle. Because Vijnanam also seemed to be controlled and propelled by something. See, we know things in this world, then we think about it and we perform action to acquire it. So intelligence at times propel us into actions which gives the appropriate results. So what is propelling this intelligence? Intelligence is behind this entire creation of this entire cosmos. The cosmic intelligence, through that only this whole cosmos has come into existence. It is sustained in that intelligence, merges back into the intelligence. But what is there behind this intelligence? What is that which is even the support of this intelligence? There must be something. And when Bhrigu approached his father, he said, you do tapas and find out. Then Bhrigu did tapas and he could realize that which is subtler than intelligence and that which is sakshat, that Brahma. Bhrigu could realize it and he comes and expresses it in front of his teacher. So let us chant Anuvaka number 6. Anando Brahmeti Vyajanath Anandabhyeva Khalvimani Bhutani Jayante Anandena Jatani Jivante Anandam Prayante Visham Vishamtiti Shaishabha Kavi Varuni Vidya Parame Vyoman Pratishtita Ya evam Veda Pratidishtati Annavan Annado Bhavati Mahan Bhavati Prajaya Pashubhe Brahma Varchasena Mahan Kirtya. When Bhrigu did some more tapas, he could understand, he could realize that even this intelligence is controlled and is propelled by Ananda, by Sukha, by Ananda. Ananda is that because of which we perform actions. See, we come to know something, we see some object and we think that that object will give me happiness. Then we start thinking how to acquire that object. Then we come up with some plan and we put forth effort and acquire that object, and then we become happy. So happiness drives the intelligence. Happiness drives our thinking, our active actions, and our experience. If you observe the world, if you observe all beings, they are propelled to act in this world, they are propelled to live in this world by a thirst for happiness. This is there inbuilt in us, it is there within us. We want to avoid unhappiness and we want to acquire happiness. So when we go to the market, we do some window shopping. Nowadays, all these malls and supermarkets have come up. So we look at those objects and then we start thinking about them. Then we imagine, oh, if I have this, it will be so wonderful. It will make my life so good. Whether it is clothes or whether it is some ornaments or whether it is some electronic goods, mobile or laptops or televisions or so many new things have come up. So I look at it and the salesperson also start praising that object like anything. Say, these are the features, you can do this, you can achieve a lot of things. And this works on AI, so you don't have to worry. You just speak out and the machine will do your work. You can clean your house, you can switch on the lights and switch off. You can control the ACs, you can control your television through this special AI powered electronic machine. So then I start imagining, I start doing sankalpa. I start imagining that object in my hand, object in my house. And through that sankalpa, we develop attachment, we develop desire. In Gita also Bhagavan says, Dhyayato Vishans Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Karamaha. That when we contemplate on those objects, we develop attachment, we develop desire to possess. Because we think that when I possess this object, I will become free of lot of my inconvenience, lot of my trouble, lot of my other incompleteness, and it will give me joy, it will give me pleasure. I don't have to bother about finding some person to clean my house. I can just give command and it will go and clean the rooms. It will map out and do the whole thing. So many things. So when I imagine I develop that desire to possess that object, but what is driving me to do that, to struggle, to work, to put forth effort to acquire it? The hope of becoming happy. If there is no hope of becoming happy, I will just drop the whole thing instantly. But if there is even a little bit of hope that this might make me happy, because it is making my neighbors happy, so maybe I will also become happy. If I have a new car or a fancy car or fast moving car, I will be more happy. if I have a larger house in a beautiful location, it will give me greater joy. So, like that, our desire to know, then think, then perform actions, all these are motivated by happiness. Hmm. If I am happy, then there is no more motivation. I can just, if I am fully happy, then there can be no motivation to do anything. Not that such a person becomes lazy, but will not have any desire to gain anything. And that is the state of an enlightened person. Like Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, he is happy. And not ordinary happiness, that Param Ananda. Just sitting in his in that room on his asana, not just with a cowpin, but extremely happy, deeply, internally, completely happy and peaceful. If you ask Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, if you happen to be there and ask him, oh, let us go for a movie, let us go shopping, let us go sightseeing, let us buy some stuff, let us change everything. If you want to do, you do. I don't want. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to achieve anything. I don't want to change anything. I don't want to transform anything. I don't want to acquire anything. I am not looking forward for a particular future. I am not repenting about something of the past. I am, I am fully satisfied. आत्मन्नेवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says an enlightened person is completely content, satisfied in himself, and there are no desires in his antakarana, which is so miraculous. Not a single desire is there. प्रजहाति यदा कामान सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् आत्मन्नेवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितः प्रज्ञस्तदुच्यते. He has reached, he has reached Paramananda, supreme happiness. And that supreme happiness is the very nature of Brahman, which is the very nature of our own self. Brahma is not different from our own self. And once one reaches that happiness, then there is nothing higher than that. So even after reaching intelligence, higher than intelligence is happiness. But having reached happiness, आगे कुछ नहीं है. Because it is complete, it is infinite. There is nothing greater than infinity. It is pure existence. There is no destruction in that existence. Sat, Chit, Ananda. What type of Ananda? Sat Ananda, Chit Ananda, Ananta Ananda, Param Ananda. Ananda is the name of Brahma. Ananda is the nature of Brahma. So our intelligence, our thinking, our actions are motivated by Ananda. But the problem is that we get stuck in the limited Ananda, in the false Ananda, in the Gauni Ananda, Ananda expressing through the gunas. In Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, Bhagavan talks about three types of Ananda, three types of Sukha. Tamasic Sukha, Rajasic Sukha, and Sattvic Sukha. Tamasic Sukha is, Bhagavan says, कि यद अग्रे च अनुबंधे च सुखम मोहनमात्मनः निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थम तत्तामसमुदारतम. Tamasic Ananda or Tamasic Sukha is that which create delusion in us and which is born from sleepiness, laziness, forgetfulness. Then there is Rajasic Ananda, which is born when our senses interact with the objects. Vishendriya Sanyogat Yattat Agre Amrutopamam Pariname Visham Iva Tat Sukham Rajasam Smutam. When our senses come in contact with the objects, we get happiness. That is Rajasic happiness. Sensual pleasures. But there is that happiness which is higher than this, which is called Sattvic happiness, which we experience when we get involved, when we follow certain discipline in our life. There is some abhyas. Regularly we follow certain discipline guided by the Shastras. So abhyasat ramate yatra dukkhantancha nigacchati. It destroys all unhappiness, and that is called Sattvic Sukha, which in the beginning, when we start following the discipline, in the beginning it appears like, oh, so difficult, poison-like. So yattad agre vishamiva pariname amrutopamam. But the result is like amrut, like ambrosia. Tat sukham sattvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. That is called Sattvic Sukha, which is born from Atma Buddhi. When we come to identify with our own inner self, by the blessings of that inner self, we experience that Sattvic Sukha. So, ignorant people, those who do not know about their own higher self, those who do not know their own nature as Brahman, means the majority of people in the world, they are also driven by happiness, but this happiness of the gunas, tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. Majority people, they run after tamasic happiness. You don't have to run also. Tamasic happiness we experience when our mind becomes dull. When we make our mind dull through some intoxicant, through drinking, through laziness, through forgetfulness, through sleepiness, Mm. When the mind becomes dull, then the mind even doesn't have the capacity to even recognize that the unhappiness. People have sorrow in their life, some problem at home, with the family, with the relatives. So, how does he solve that problem? He goes to the bar and starts drinking. After drinking some 2, 3 rounds, slowly his mind becomes dull and then he becomes insensitive to all the sorrows, pain, as well as pleasure also. So dullness comes. So some people they who do not know, they go after tamasic happiness. But then there are others who run majority, lot of people they run after rajasic happiness, which is acquired through our senses by eating, drinking, acquiring different types of pleasures, pleasurable objects, by stimulating the mind, stimulating the intellect, by acquiring a lot of wealth, position, name, fame. That seems to be, that stimulation seems to give some sort of happiness. As long as the stimulation is there, that happiness is there. Once the stimulation stops, the happiness disappears. So we throw a party and a lot of people in dancing, jumping, whole night a person is dancing, a lot of blaring music is there, disturbing the entire neighborhood. And this fellow seemed to be very happy. बहुत मजा आ रहा है. Dumping, jumping, dancing, drinking, smoking, noise, shouting, rajasic happiness, eating, rajasic happiness. And this we want to continue. We want to continue the party everywhere. At home also we keep all the things which are meant for this type of pleasures. Music, dance, eating, different types of dishes which are very rare, so they will go to places to buy them, to order them. So rajasic happiness. It seems we are happy, but as soon as the stimulation goes away, sorrow comes, sadness comes, pain comes in life. Pariname vishamiva. Bhagavan says that the result of such rajasic happiness is poison only. Stimulating our senses, mind, intellect to get happiness. Hmm. So tamasic happiness is by making the mind dull. Rajasic happiness is by stimulating the mind, antakarana, through various stimuli. But sattvic happiness is by making the mind calm, quite peaceful through proper discipline, proper sadhana. Through this sadhana, the mind is made free of all, all these negativities, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsya. Bhagavan in Gita tells that you follow the path of karma yoga. That will make your mind calm, peaceful. do fulfill all your responsibilities, do all your duties, dedicate them to Ishvara, make the mind, what you call, make, keep the mind busy in fulfilling your responsibilities. So slowly the mind becomes free of raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsar. Mind becomes pure. Just by practicing the path of karma yoga, the mind starts becoming pure. Without the need for any outer stimuli or objects or this and that, the mind, when it becomes pure, there is a great sense of happiness in there, which is called prasad. The result of karma yoga is prasad, is prasannata of the mind. Mind becomes very peaceful and happy. But this is also a limited happiness. Happiness is an expression of the gunas, but it's a very high level of happiness, prasad. So in Gita, Bhagavan says, when you gain that prasad, you will be able to meditate and gain abidance in your own self. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi paryavatishthati. When you when you when there is the prasannata, then the mind becomes calm, peaceful, and the understanding which you have of yourself through Shravan Manan, you will be able to do Nididhyasana and gain that abidance in your own self. In the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, then you will transcend even the sattvic happiness and gain atyantikam sukham, that ultimate happiness which is the very nature of yourself. In the sixth chapter of Gita, Bhagavan says, when you meditate, you transcend the mind. See, tamasic happiness is by making the mind dull. Rajasic happiness is by making the mind, by stimulating the mind. Sattvic happiness by making the mind pure. But that Paramananda, that supreme happiness of the self is when you even transcend the mind, go beyond the mind. So Bhagavan describes that in Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter. He says, Yada vinayatam chittam atmani eva avatishtate. When the chitta, which is quietened and which is disciplined through all your sadhana, when it abides in your own self, nispraha sarva kamebhyaha, totally free from all kamnas, yukta ityuchyate tada. Such a person is called yukta. He is enlightened, he is established in himself. Yatha deepo nivatastah nengate sopama smata yogino yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmana. So the yogi who practices this meditation, his mind is like that flame which is kept in a windless place which doesn't flicker. It is very steady. So yatro paramati chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pasyan atmani tushyati. There the chitta, having recognized his own self, becomes completely fulfilled, completely content, completely satisfied. And that sukha, Bhagavan says, is sukham atyantikam. This sukha is atyantikam, means there is nothing greater, there is no greater sukha than this. This is the Param Ananda, the supreme infinite Ananda. Sukham atyantikam yattat buddhi grahyam atindriyam, which is recognized, which is realized with the sattvic and shuddha and ekagra buddhi. We come to to recognize this Ananda of our own self. Vetti yatra na chevayam stitas chalati tatpataha. Once one knows this, one doesn't waver from this state. So one has to strive to be established in this sukha. So Bhrigu, through tapas, he could recognize this atyantikam sukham. See, this rajasic, tamasic, sattvic sukha is part of that anandamay kosha. But when you transcend that kosha and you come to understand the very support of that kosha, that support of the kosha itself is Brahma. In the Brahman and the Valli, the description of that Anandamaya kosha is given. Tasya priyameva shiraha. Of that Ananda kosha, priya is the head of that kosha. Priya means when we think about something which we like, we feel very happy. That is priya. Then we acquire it, that is more, that we feel more happy. Then we enjoy it, that is even more happiness. So different layers of happiness are the different parts of this Anandamaya kosha. So tasya priyameva shiraha modo dakshina pakshaha. Moda, greater happiness is like the right hand. Pramoda uttara pakshaha. Pramoda, greater happiness is like the left hand. Ananda Atma, but that prasada which one gains through karma yoga, through purity of the antakarana, through discipline, through quietude of the mind, not through dullness, but you are awake, alert, but extremely peaceful and happy, which is also sattvic happiness only, but very peaceful and happy. That is called as the Atma of this Anandamaya kosha. But the very support of this Anandamaya kosha, very Adhar of this Anandamaya kosha is Brahma, Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. So one has to recognize, realize that Brahma and gain abidance in that Ananda Swarupa Brahma. See, it is very difficult to describe that Brahma, but we experience happiness at different levels. So just imagine infinite happiness, that is Brahma. Happiness without a trace of unhappiness. Eternal, infinite, awareful happiness. So that is the Ananda. And from this Ananda alone, the entire creation has come. It is sustained and merges back. This is something which cannot be appreciated and understood through the scientific methods which we are using now to understand this world. Through that scientific method, we have reached till the pranamaya kosha, that also not fully, but that science understand matter and energy. Beyond matter and energy is the mind. Beyond the mind is the intellect. Beyond the intellect is this Ananda. So the entire creation has come from Ananda, is sustained in Ananda, and merges back into Ananda. आनंदो ब्रह्मेति व्यजनात् आनंदादेव खल्विमानि भूतानि जायन्ते आनंदेन जातानि जीवन्ति आनंदं प्रयन्त्यपि संविशन्ति इति. So this Ananda we have to recognize, slowly transcend from tamasic Ananda to Rajasic, from Rajasic to Sattvic, and from Sattvic you transcend Sattvic Ananda also, and gain abidance in your own Ananda Swarup, Atma. This is the Ananda Marg. This is the path shown by Bhrigu, taught by his father Varuna, and followed by Bhrigu. So through tapas, we transcend each layer and gain abidance in our own inner self as Brahman. So more about this we will see in our class on Wednesday. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, your sadhana. Listen to the pravachan again. Contemplate, meditate, understand. You have to work yourself. Nobody else will come to, they can guide you, they can advise you, but finally we have to do our own sadhana. As they say, we can take the horse to the water, but the horse has to drink that water himself. So Guru can guide, show the direction, but we have to walk and experience our own self. So more we will see in our class, next class. And we will meet again soon. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram 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 Jaya Ram. Jaya Ram. Boलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.